We're here with legendary Chicago Bears star Dan Hampton, and we're here with Preston Smalley from Comcast, the tech guy.
Yeah,
who has
morning.
the really long title, but basically the tech guy. Now, Dan, you know a thing or two about football, and over the years you've watched, after you played, you've watched football, and you've still been a fan for a long time. You've consumed it in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely.
And obviously technology has been changing over the years. And before this whole app, how did you watch football, and what were your beats? What was missing?
And I can go back to the old days where we're in a dark room with Buddy Ryan smoking a pipe, watching game film on a projector. Now, when you look at what the media has become, and especially with the new app from Comcast, it's an incredible transformation. And let me just say this, I do 2 pre-games, 2 post-games, I do radio, television. A lot of what I do is gathering information. And over the years, you would have to wait for, late night computer programs that come up, or the newspaper the next. Now it's instantaneous. It's right here on your television screen. And that in itself, exponentially, is a whole new frontier. And Preston, was showing me some of the new details and all the things and the features that are to be, down the road a little bit. Well, I got to tell you, when I'm watching the Green Bay Packer Chicago Bear game on Sunday, if I've got to have this, because if I don't, I'm going to feel like I'm missing the boat.
So it kind of allows people at home to really immerse themselves into it, and it lets them play a part of it as opposed to just kind of be a spectator.
That's right. And I think it allows them to tap into the kind of color commentary and stats that really only the announcers had before. And so it puts that right at your fingertips. So you can pull that right up, dig into the game you're watching, better understand what's going on in the action, but also follow another game and be able to keep one eye on this game, but be able to follow another.
It almost seems kind of like, it's like you're more behind the scenes, and it allows you to be like a statistician and follow along.
I did colored commentary for, a number of years, 7, 8 years, and we had a stat man right there at our behest. And, Jay Cutler would be 8 of 12, 0 interceptions, 120. The people at home don't know that. They don't know that he's actually having a decent day. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's actually moving the offense. But if you don't have those stats, you don't have a full, complete picture of the sporting event. So this not only enhances it, it takes it to the next level. And again, like I was telling Preston, the long and short of it is, it's all about maximizing the enjoyment of the events you're watching. Everybody's busy. Everybody's going. But when you make time to sit down and you're going to watch a game like the Packers and the Bears,
apparently they're a rival or something.
Hey, guess what? I may have Tom Brady as my fantasy. I want to see what the Patriots are doing, and they're playing it the same. We could put that on the app, and we see exactly what he's doing, but never miss a play of the Packers and the Bears.
Does this complement the commentator? Does this replace the commentator? What is it doing for that?
I'm interested in what you have to say before I make a comment.
Well, I think, I don't think it replaces the commentator. I mean, they're driving the broadcast. They're providing really the broad view of the game. What I think this allows you to do is dig in deeper, because they can only cover so much. What they say on air and the graphics they put on air, it has to be broadly applicable. And I think, one of the things that's great about this is it puts you as the fan to be able to dig further in. If you saw that chart, you saw a nice drive chart, and you wanted to pull that drive chart up at a different time, you can do that now. You don't have to wait until they choose to put it on there. And so I think for fans that want to dig in further, it's now right at their fingertips.
And if I could just add on to that, you as a fan are no longer dependent on the color team, the commentators, to tell you what you need to know. Now you can find out what you want to know instantaneously. And you know what? It only augments what and Preston's point is, they can only tell you so much. We don't know how many tackles Clay Matthews had in the first half, but, we can go on the app. We can see exactly who's playing great, who's not playing so great, but more importantly, there is one of the coolest things. It has a win probability meter that basically is what, a second, 2 seconds after every play.
That's right.
It readjusts what the win probability of your team is.
It's kind of like when you're watching poker and you see like a hand, and the behind the players can't see that this has like 89% chance of winning.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like it's real time.
But don't compare cards to football. It's completely different.
Yeah.
Now what are we looking at on the screen? What's going on here?
So what we've got is really, so this is the X1 platform. So this is what new Comcast customers would get if they sign up for service, or existing ones could be switched to for no, it's not an additional monthly fee for this. It's our standard cloud-based TV service now. Now what we've had from the very beginning is a sports app that breaks down each league and shows you, when are they on TV. So I've got the NFL here. Notice that the Bears-Packers game is going to be televised here in Chicago, so there's a little TV icon. But I can move right into Major League Baseball. I can look at college football, soccer, NASCAR. And so in this way, we've organized it by the way fans think about it rather than just channel numbers, right? And so that's the first step. And then what we've been talking about is really these extra stats. And so in June, we launched the baseball extras. And so all the same things we were talking about with football, we launched that for baseball. So you can see full pitcher matchups. You can see how the hitting does across two teams. You can see how the bullpen stacks up, and has all that same live stats. If we had a live game, I'd show you. And then for the football season, we just launched, and actually if we could flip the TV over to the other input. We don't have a live football game on right now, but we've actually got a demo of what this would look like if we were watching last year's Super Bowl. And so we'll pull that up and you can see kind of how this works in real time. And we'll kind of walk through that. So you guys flipping that over to okay, great.
And you're controlling all this with the voice.
Yeah, so this is the voice remote, that customers get for the X1, and so it does all these simple things like pull up the sports app, which is as simple as pushing the C key, but I also can do voice search for teams, movies, actors, actresses, whatnot. So here we've got the Super Bowl game going, and what you'll see, this is the color commentary that's live. So as I pulled it up, you'll see what players were involved in the last play that just occurred. And then here's the win probability, which evolves over the course of the game based on the game momentum and the stats.
The interesting part about this is, if you looked at it, the Patriots started out with about a 2/3 probability. By the end of the fourth quarter, they were like a third of a chance of winning. And obviously, it was amazing the way this game played out.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that too is like it creates like a suspense.
It does.
That you follow on.
It shows you the arc and how things are moving. And if you're trying to figure out, one of the things that will be thrown up on the screen is the drive charts. And here, I can actually just move to the right and see the full drive summary. In this case, Seattle's driving. And so you can see, how many plays have occurred, how does this occur, how does this compare to their season average, how long is the drive, taken. If I'm into fantasy sports, this is huge. So here, what we'll also break down is who's racking up the most fantasy points across both teams. And so you can see, if I go back here, you'll see, Tom Brady's racking up a ton of points. And so if you're following these guys, then you can see, how they're really performing over the game.
And behind the scenes, where's this data coming from?
So the data, sports data, comes from a variety of different sources. And so what we've done is we've partnered with a company in Philadelphia called 12C. And what they do is they aggregate all that stats and then help visualize it in the experience. And so that's what we've tried to make these stats easy to understand, because you could look at the raw stats feed and it wouldn't make any sense. And what we've done is we try to make it really approachable for the viewer and integrate it right here alongside the broadcast.
And Dan, are you as football has changed over the years and how technology is really converging here, are you an old school guy? Are you a new school guy? Do you embrace change? How do you feel about that?
One part of me says that you can never, ever replace the actual visual part of football, because that's what we all watch.
It's the game.
Exactly. Irvin just sacking Tom Brady. You hear it on the radio, it doesn't mean much. You watch Brady trying to move out of the pocket, it's hit. The visual part. This not only enhances that, but it gives you such a platform that you can understand so much more about the game. And I've got a 12-year-old son. Doesn't know everything about football. Watching this with the stat package, the app, is going to be incredibly helpful when I try to explain to him why 4 yards, per attempt in rushing is so much better than 3 yards per attempt, and all those different concepts. But more importantly, there's a guy going around saying "Make America great again." I think today's motto is making football watching great again, because this is what this is going to do. And again, like I said, this weekend I've got to watch the Bear-Packer game. It's what I do. I do pre, post, blah. I need to see I am going to make sure I have this app package before the game is kicked off. In fact, I'm bringing Preston home with me tonight in a
I don't know this yet.
I'm taking him with me, make sure we get this thing going.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I was blown away when I came in today and saw this. Truly, again, from all aspects, I've worked as color commentator, pregame, postgame, television, radio. This is going to change the way everybody looks at the game of football.
Now, Dan, you have a lot of fans who are used to seeing you wear a Bears uniform. What got you to put on an Xfinity uniform?
His promise of going home and fixing the television tonight. I've got a bunch of TVs. It's going to take all night for him to do it now. And that's the great thing about it. If you have the X1 package, it's a free upgrade. It's all free, and Comcast is basically just saying, we have this app that's going to change your world, blow you away. Come find out what we have to do to lay it on you. And I like that.
We want fans to have this, because obviously it changes the experience for you, and it's going to make you love your service from us even more so. So it's really about that.
So I see from the consumer perspective how this makes it a much more immersive experience. But coming from a pro football background, how would your fellow teammates feel about this kind of experience if they were at home watching their competing players?
And you know what? I played a long time ago, 20-something years ago.
Apparently you were on the 85 Bears.
Right.
Like that.
But you know what? The players of today, they are so into interactive sports and video and all. This is going to be a mushroom cloud of enjoyment for not only the casual fans, but the knowledgeable folks like me that played the game for a long time. But now today's players that are actually out there on the field, to be able to see these graphics up to the minute, up to the second updates after plays. It's like I said, you can never replace the visual part of it, but the enhancement that this sports app brings is out of this world.
Because a lot of times the way I watch football, I'll have my TV here, and then I'll have my laptop with ESPN here.
And you're 80%
you merge those.
And you're watching your laptop 80% of the time instead of the television.
Right.
Now you don't have to look at the laptop. It's right here.
And it creates a group experience, right? So if you're the only one, fine. But if there's other folks watching the game with you, your buddies that are over or whoever, this makes it more of a joint experience, because you can all be talking about the stats or the rushing yards or whatever, and it makes it more of a group experience.
And even if you're watching, the Bear-Packer game, you could have the Philadelphia Eagles, their offensive stats for folks that had some of those players on their team. So I mean, like I said, it's a wicked brew.
You've mentioned Bears Packers a couple of times. Just coming from history of that, how did that become such a wicked brew itself?
Okay, because it was the beginning. This is the 95th year the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers have been in existence. The oldest franchises in history. The Bears have the most Hall of Famers with 30. The Packers third most with 28. They have played more games between them than any two teams in history. The bottom line is, if you go back and look at the stats, that points per game by both teams is within 1/10 of a point. It is that close. Unfortunately, the Packers have gotten pretty lucky and had some good quarterbacks the last 20 years. But, that's why they play the games in the NFL. You never know what's going to happen. And so that's what makes it, great. Because even though the Packers are favored, there's every reason to believe, hey, the Bears, they're going to get, they're going to put helmets on. They're going to go out there. We'll see what happens.
And I came from St. Louis, and I was actually covering the St. Louis Rams when they just moved from LA, and there was this guy, Lovie Smith, that maybe you heard of from the Bears.
Absolutely.
How's the Bears franchise kind of evolved over the years?
Well, when I got here in 1979, we weren't the preeminent team. Okay. But after 3 years, they decided to go with a new coach. That was my and we evolved into what ESPN named this past week the greatest NFL team of all time. And you can Google this, look it up. But the bottom line is, by the way, we had a guy that was injured that 1985 season. He was our cornerback. Like a nickelback that had a broken ankle. His name was Jeff Fisher. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
He's now the coach of the St. Louis Rams. But anyway, for a number of years we were the preeminent franchise in all of football. And just like, right now maybe New England is. That's what's great about it. There's 32 teams, 32 coaches think that they should win the Super Bowl at some point. And so that's what makes it so great, so competitive. And that's why everyone loves, watching the game. Because, let's be realistic. In baseball, there's a bunch of yawners. Nobody cares, right? The 162 games, wake me up when it's over. But football, there's only 16. And what you do matters. And that's why everybody wants to see it. Everybody wants to watch it. Everybody has to have
the pressure's on, and every second counts.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think that's where, frankly, even some of the baseball features shine through, is that, look, if you miss the game for whatever reason and you're trying to catch up, you're able to see, okay, well, what happened in that game and how did it transpire, or which of the games that I really should watch. That's where this can come in and really help you figure that out.
And this is where this is at today, but where, 6 months, a year, 2 years, where's this going?
Yeah, so I think that's, we were talking earlier, I'm really excited about where we're at, but I equally as excited about where it's going, because I think, take personalization, for example. I think this is a fantastic experience, but the more that we can learn about what teams and players you like to follow, the better experience we can create for you. So, whether that's showing fantasy stats for your particular league or players, following your particular teams, letting you know when, say, one of your teams is in a really close game that you may not be tuned into, let's make sure you not miss that, right? So we can send alerts or notifications. So I feel like we're just getting started in terms of what we can do to better personalize the experience.
So the idea that this could kind of learn and
That's
become
right.
for you,
That's right.
custom for you.
Yeah.
What he's trying to tell you is this could take over your life.
I think Google did that. So
Well,
kind of the Google of
yeah.
sports, right?
And I think, we'll expand other sports too. I mean, we've got baseball and football now. Obviously, we want to
Even
bring...
though baseball's boring, right?
Well, for basketball fans, we'll want to get there, hockey, so...
But every sport, and every week there's 80 college football games. Same package, same information, same real-time updates with all the stats.
Yep.
It's incredible.
And Dan, what's your greatest memory of being a Bears player?
Obviously it's when you win a Super Bowl, it's a pretty special day.
Kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, and the interesting part about it was, I wear this ring on occasion, and when I first saw it, I was really underwhelmed. Because I thought, hey, we're the oldest franchise, in the league. We needed one that was like a car headlight, like as big as it. And I went up to Mike McCaskey, the owner, and I kind of got him in a headlock. And I said, "What are you doing with this ring? We wanted a bigger, better one." And he said, "You know what? We're the youngest team in the NFL. We're going to go back like 5 times, so we'll get bigger and bigger and progressively get better." And I said, "You're right. You're right." We never went back. So in the subsequent years, you think at the time, yeah, it's cool, but there's always something more. Then you realize, hey, it's pretty special. If you win one, it's pretty special.